Hey, man.
Hi, my name is Matt, Ranger Matt, and welcome to another day with Slick, a better you. Over the last 3 years, I've had the pleasure of meeting many different people, book authors, pastors, singers, motivational speakers, people from television, people from the daytime serial world, and people from Disney.
Why am I asking you this? I already know this. You're from where I'm at, Baltimore native.
Over these 3 years, I've heard many excellent stories. I've had many wonderful conversations, good laughs, and I've always enjoyed hearing stories from people in terms of how they got from point A to point B to where they are today. I've had a blast doing this, and I can't wait to see what else is in store. So sit back, relax, and here's a new episode of Slick, a better you.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You know, it's a messed up family.
Well, hello, guys. How y'all doing out there? This is Ranger Matt, and this is another day with Slick, a better you. Hope everybody's having a tremendous Friday. I know I am. It's warm as a cat's tail outside. You know, it's time to saddle up on my horse and get going. Did y'all ever want to get advice as far as traveling, going somewhere? Maybe you want to go to another country, another continent. Maybe you want to go to the UK and London. Well, I have a perfect person here who can talk about that. Her name is Heather, and I'm excited about this one. I know I could use some advice because the brother likes to travel a lot, you know, being a delivery driver that I am and all that. So let me get aboard, ladies and gentlemen. This is Heather Markel. Hey,
Hello.
Heather.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. I love the background, by the way.
Oh, thanks, right? It's not mine, but yeah, it's cool, right?
All right. So I asked all my guests this question. I'm going to ask you. I know it's been 2 years, so I don't know how old I can use this one, but how have you and your family been doing throughout the pandemic?
Well, I'd say I did better than them. Mostly, so I got marooned in New Zealand. I went there in February 2020 for 3 weeks. It turned into 2 years. So I was very lucky. My family was, you know, they had to stay indoors. It was alarming, whatever, but mostly they did okay. I just lost my stepdad, not to COVID, but he was 95, lived a great life. But other than that, they did well.
Okay.
How about you? How did you do?
Well, I did okay. You know, I haven't been affected or nothing. I got my shots. I just got my booster a few weeks ago. I was one of those people that, you know, a lot of people didn't work when the pandemic happened, and one of the few people that continued working throughout. So I did good. And my mother too.
Great. Good to hear.
Yeah. So, where are you from?
I'm originally from New York City, born and raised.
Oh. Well, then I need to get your autograph because if you're from New York, that means you must have been in the Broadway play, right?
Yeah, sure. I've been in a Broadway theater, but not on the stage. No.
What was that like growing up in New York?
Well, it was normal for me, but I mean, you know, from an early age, I was taking public transportation to school and around town and pretty independent. So I think now that I go traveling, it's like, you know, if you can find your way around New York, it makes it easier to find your way around other places. So, yeah, it was, you know, not a lot of nature, but lots of buildings. Central Park was my, like, gym class. So, you know.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of hobbies did you have growing up that you had?
Well, let's see. I actually did acting. I loved acting. So I did a lot of acting classes, writing, I loved making jewelry. So I've made a lot of jewelry. I went to FIT for, I learned how to make handbags. So I was doing that for a while. So kind of crafty, creative kinds of hobbies.
Right. Okay. So you're really An artist, art-wise, pretty much, you can say.
I suppose. I've done
Yeah.
many things, I think. I don't think of myself as one thing.
Right. So talk a bit about your work. How did this come about for you?
So I worked in corporate for over 25 years. I was in telecommunications and I did, sales, marketing, customer service, and I pre Great Resignation, I just was, kind of realizing that I was not really happy doing what I was doing. I didn't see another job that lit me up, and I had a long time to go till retirement, and I felt very much like I was like literally rotting in my chair, waiting for this retirement day to come so I could actually enjoy myself. And it took years of like courage and work, but I ultimately decided to quit. And I was going to quit for another job.
Right.
Then I became a certified coach, and I started doing business coaching, and I was starting to out earn myself with the business coaching over my corporate career. So I was
Right.
like, all right, I'll just quit and do my business full time. But to get myself there, I had to work so hard, I just burnt out. And ultimately, I just decided I just need to quit for me. And it doesn't seem to make sense, but I have all these feelings that I'm just not in the right place, and I want more meaning and purpose. And so I quit in 2017, and in January 2018, went to Costa Rica. And at the time, I went for 6 weeks, and I had to come back for jury duty. So, so when I went, since it was a defined time, I actually took a break from everything. I quit my job, and I also didn't do any work because I was like, I need to clear my head of, I didn't even know what. And then as time went on, my work has become a combination of coaching. I do business coaching, but also now I'm focused more on full-time travel coaching. So I help other people who would very much like to travel full-time, whether that's like quitting a job, maybe they want to keep the job and travel remotely, maybe they want to be a digital nomad, maybe they want to retire, whatever it is. I help them figure out how to make that possible.
Right.
And I also do travel writing. So goes hand in hand. As I travel, I write about it and get paid to do that. So
Well, that sounds like fun. Maybe I need to quit what I'm doing and get into something like that. That sounds fun.
maybe you do.
What's like the furthest you've been to?
Well, it's funny. I went to Ushuaia in Argentina, and I looked at this map, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm like the furthest south I've ever been ever." And I'm like the same distance away from Europe that I am from America, that I am from like Australia. I was, I don't know. I haven't measured the miles, but I've been to Ushuaia. I was, New Zealand was pretty far. Asia, and also Africa have been some of the furthest places I've gone.
Now, how you said Ushuaia?
Ushuaia. Yeah.
Sound like an Italian spaghetti. Ushuaia.
Yes, right? That's a good one. It's actually, there's a really great, talking about entrepreneurship and getting paid for stuff. It's called The City at the End of the World. And it was marketed by this Argentinian guy, like long ago, went traveling around and marketed this concept. And the Argentinian government or tourist board, to thank him, gave him like a piece of land in Ushuaia.
Right.
And he declared it his own country, and he created a post office where you can get a stamp from his country, and he could also take you on a boat ride there. So he gets paid. You have to pay like $2 or $3 US. I mean, this is back in 2019, right? $2 or $3 US to get the passport stamp. So obviously you're going to do that. But in 3 or 4 months of work stamping these passports, he makes enough money to like live for the whole year. So I mean, that's pretty impressive.
So being an agent as far as traveling, I'm trying to find the right way to ask this question. So, like, have you had like customers who you get like you have like a favorite customer or someone who you gave the best advice to that like what's like the fun that you found in doing this?
What's the
What's the fun you found in doing this job?
fun in the the full-time travel coaching or the writing?
Yes,
The coaching?
full-time coaching.
Well, what I love about it is that, to work with someone that just has a dream. This is what I always love, like meeting people that have a dream that don't think it's possible, and then talking them through so that it's like, oh, like I can actually do this. Because it's I mean, I know what it's like when we're told follow your heart, and it's really hard to do because your head is like, you're crazy. I mean, this is what happened to me, right? Like you want to quit and travel? What are you thinking? Like, how are you paying the rent? How are you, all this stuff. And
Right.
And the head wants the heart to be logical, which makes no sense because the heart it's not meant to be logical. And so I think when people have dreams, they recognize, yeah, I feel I want to do this. This is like everything I want to do, but I got no idea how to get there and how to do this. And it just sounds crazy. And so for me, I love watching my clients just be like, oh, the light bulb goes off. I was like, oh, like I really could make this possible. And there's no one path. It's like just that everybody has a different path to making things happen, and helping my clients find their path is just really rewarding.
Right. Again, this sounds like fun. Something that is interesting. And like, let's say somebody wanted to maybe work-wise commute themselves to Florida or Disney. Like, how would that come in part for you?
So you mean they live somewhere in the U.S.
Right.
and they want to work remotely in Florida?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about the Great Resignation is remote work is like all the rage now. In fact, when I quit, I actually I did ask for a sabbatical, but back then they didn't do sabbaticals for like personal reasons. You had to, have family or medical leave. And so I thought about, I was like, oh, if I could do this job from like anywhere, maybe, that would be cool. But back then, like it wasn't, you just don't do that.
Right.
So now remote work is so possible that I would say talk to your employer. And if you want to be based, I mean, first off, if you're in America, and you're clearly, there's some professions you can't move to Florida. If you're in a medical profession, you probably can't. I mean, if you work in a store that has a physical presence in Idaho, you probably can't do your work from Florida. But if you have the kind of job that can be done from anywhere, well, first off, nobody has the right to tell you where to live. So as long as you can get your work done, if there's a different time zone, you might have to work different hours, but but otherwise talk to your boss, and your HR department and see if you can relocate and do your job from there. Or do the, 6 months of the year one place, 6 months of the year in another place.
Wow. I'm really engaged. I mean, like on the for real side, like this is, I never, I mean, I've looked into it per se, before today, but again, I never really heard about this, and this is really, really interesting. Yeah.
Well, it's more than interesting because the other thing is, one, because of the Great Resignation, people have been sitting at home, probably ideally, if they didn't go Amazon crazy, not spending as much money, and so they have a nice nest egg built up. But part of the amazingness of like what I do, the full-time travel, is I had no idea how much cheaper it is to travel full-time than to live in a fixed location.
Right.
So that's a change. And also, Florida, for example, is radically cheaper than New York. So when you talk about moving, there's a lot of reasons to either relocate or to spend part of a year somewhere else, as long as you're not paying two rents. But, you can probably pay a lot less in Florida than you do in New York or some of the, the states in the north. So,
Right.
So that's another great reason to look into remote work.
Did you do any like traveling with this when the pandemic was going on?
I was in New Zealand, so we had lockdown from March of 2020 to like May or June. I think we had 75 days of lockdown, and then it was open, right? We while the rest of the world was in crazy turmoil, there was no COVID in New Zealand. So for the first year, I was traveling around New Zealand and hugging, and I used to go to Latin Fit dance class, and like we would sweat and hug each other afterwards, and you know, they were like, it's the only country you could do this. So so yeah, it was I did travel, but it was all domestically in New Zealand.
Right. Wow. Let me see. So you also write. I mean, like, do you plan to like write a book about like?
I did write a book. Actually, it just came out. I could go. I was like, I meant to put a copy right here. I could step over there and get it.
Sure.
All right, I'll be right back. Hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
Cool. So, so this is the book. It's called Voices of the 21st Century.
Okay.
Conscious, caring women who make a difference. So yeah, so it just came out February 22nd. And there are 50. This is like a great, with Mother's Day coming up. It's a great, and it's also for International Women's Day and all that. It's 50 amazing women who've written their story. So I share my story about why I quit, and what it was like following my heart to do what I wanted to do, and the impact on my life of doing that.
Right.
So, and it became an international bestseller. So,
congratulations!
Thank you. So yeah, so I sell that on my website. This is my author copy. And Amazon has the generic copy available in print and on Kindle.
Okay. Have you talked with anybody who bought the book yet?
Yes. I've had actually a number of people buy the book from me, and there's a bunch of amazing reviews on Amazon. And so people seem to have really, really enjoyed it.
It sounds like a good book, Voice of the 21st Century.
Yes, it is. It's a great book.
Right. Now, do you plan on writing like an autobiography book about yourself?
Yeah, I so I have a blog, and it's 4 years of blog posts. There's like a lot there. So I do a lot of writing, and I've thought for a long time about writing something like a full book about something, right? And people have told me to write a book. The problem is there's so many angles, right? There's and I just, when I sit down to start writing, it sort of is like, oh gosh, like, do I want to go this way or that way? Like, I'm not really sure yet what the path will be, or maybe there'll be like a 3-part book, so I'm sure it'll happen.
Listen, there's a story to tell. I've heard many stories doing my podcast in these 3 years, and you can comment on this, but you're one of the, I'm sure there's a lot of people, but one of the people that I know of that was able to quit a job, get into something that you love doing, and have successfully fulfilled that. And I'm sure that people would, when they hear that story, will to know, well, I want to, how can I fulfill that journey as well?
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, a book, at any way that I can inspire people. I actually have like programs. I sell programs as well on my website about, like how to make money without a job, because I think that's the biggest concern people always have.
Right.
Is well, this sounds really cool, but how on earth am I going to afford it? So I have a couple of products, like a program that takes you through a lot of because it's actually a lot of mindset stuff. It's really funny because we think what's holding us back a lot of the time is like the physical issue. So in this case, money. But it turns out that actually it's all of our thinking and logic that is getting in the way of making this possible. Because I had to completely change my life. And something really simple to think about is before I would arrange my travel around my work, right? So work is in the middle and travel comes around it.
Right.
And I shifted to, I'm like, well, what if I revolve my work around travel? And so travel now takes the big middle and work is around it. And it just shifted something in my thinking, because I'm like, oh, like work becomes a whole different animal. And, you know, and remote work now ties into this, but it's like, oh, if I'm making travel the main thing, then I just have to look at work differently than I ever did before.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah. So, so that was a big thing. So I help people a lot look at the mindset of how to do this life, what this life is really like. Because by the way, this life is not all roses. You know, there just like everything else in life, there's some stuff that's not great about it.
Right.
So, you know, I try to help prepare people and set their expectations for what it's like. Make sure that this life is for you. And then we look at, you know, money stuff, and like, there's so many ways to make this affordable and doable. You wouldn't believe it. So it's, it really can be done. So if you want to do it, I encourage you to do it, because it's just so worthwhile.
Absolutely. You know, hearing you talk, you know, I think you would do good for mayor. You can run for mayor somewhere, you know. Or be our next president, you know.
Oh God, I don't know.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I like, well, people call it Euro trash, but I like pop Euro trash. I also like electronic music. What was somebody put me on? Oh my God, oh God, I don't even, it's a genre I'd never heard of. It was really cool though. I had a friend from Samoa in New Zealand who like I have a playlist. I'd have to look it up. It's like a genre that I can't remember the name of, but very cool. And like those Buddha bar kind of stuff. So like
Buddha bar?
Buddha bar. It's like, I learned about it in France, so I don't know, but it's
it's boots that you put on when you go to a bar. Like what you're saying, Buddha bar.
There's also a Buddha bar. There's like a big Buddha statue in the bar, and it's called Buddha bar. Yeah.
That's interesting. So listening to, well, when you do listen to music, does it sometimes inspire you to do what you're doing? Sometimes.
Does it inspire me to?
Like as far as your work.
Oh, yeah. So like I have to have the right music. Sometimes it distracts me. Mm-hmm. I just actually started listening this week to is it like alpha theta state music? I don't know. It like helps you focus or something. So I think when I work, sometimes like the Euro trash stuff will distract me, and so I need something more just like peaceful and calm and focused. So
okay.
Do you listen to music to inspire you?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes, you know, I'm a writer too, so yeah, I do. I'm new to the Euro trash one that you just said.
Yeah, well, that's what they call. I mean, I think of it as like Euro pop or whatever, but like my friends always said a Euro trash, and I'm just like, whatever. Yep, I like it. So.
Oh man. Well, you said earlier that you took some acting. Did you take acting class?
I did. Yeah.
Did you act in anything?
I was in some weird short movie called Sweet Bird of You. Oh, and the movie with Ben Stiller and Jenna Elfman. And I can't think of the third actor's name. It was like a religious, like one was a priest and one was a rabbi, and she was the love interest. Mm-hmm. I forget the movie. I was an extra, and I was like sitting upstairs, and I'm pretty sure like if you freeze the the scene where they flick upstairs, like I think maybe you see me, I don't know, but like you'd have to really stop it and be like, which one is you? But yeah, so and I've done I actually did stand-up comedy 6 times, so
Really?
yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So now I know really where your work comes from. This comedianism. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me something funny right now.
Oh, well, that you can't. The whole thing about comedy is you can't, like, it's really hard, actually, I learned, because the more you try to be funny, the less funny you are. So you have to, like, really think it out, and the delivery is, yeah, it's really hard.
I understand. Sometimes, I mean, I'm no comedian, but I do have moments where I can be funny, or like those moments where you think it's funny in your head, and you say it out loud, and it's not so funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's interesting you said that, though. I mean, hey, you got any upcoming comedy sketches for YouTube that you're doing, or?
I don't, it's funny. I used to do this thing where I bought wigs. I had wigs and I did characters, I mean, years ago, like 10, 15 years ago. And it's funny because now people do it and I'm like, oh, if I would put all that stuff on YouTube all that time ago. But anyway, I mean, I did a reprise. I got some wigs while I was in New Zealand and did a couple of sketches. But yeah, most of my videos have been about travel and about, like scenes from where I am or tips on traveling full time. So they haven't been as comedic, but I've thought about that a lot. Like, oh, how can I bring in comedy to this? And yeah, so.
I can see that. I mean, you can try to flip adding in your work, like you going somewhere, or if you're helping somebody, you can try to flip that in there. And I mean, I can see it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Were you now? This is kind of left field. We were talking about comedy a bit.
Wait, I moved to my left. Okay.
See, here we go. I was going to say, so we were talking about comedy a bit. I was going to ask you. We recently lost him. Did you like Gilbert Gottfried?
Oh yeah. In his own way. I mean, I wouldn't say that he was like my favorite, but I know him, and yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So what would your stage name be then?
I didn't have one.
Just Heather, or
just Heather Markel, yeah.
Oh no! We gotta come up with something like the Markel. Or...
I know it has to be like I don't know. It just hasn't happened yet. I think it'll organically happen somehow. I don't know.
Well, you taught me something new because I don't think you posted that on your website about being a
the comedy.
Yeah,
probably not because it's sort of not relevant to the travel. But yeah, it probably helps. It helps to make humor. I mean, when you travel to other countries, there's so much that happens where either you make a complete ass of yourself to like such a degree, it's just like all you can do is laugh, or something goes so unplanned and like you're what just happened,
right.
And there comes a time when things go so wrong that there's just nothing else to do but laugh. I mean, that's how I look at it. As long as you're okay, you're healthy, you're safe, whatever, then it's like, this is, I just have to laugh. Right. So yes, I think the comedy helps with that, as well as you got to be, it's also a deterrent sometimes because so comedy is very different from country to country. And American humor does not work in many places of the world. And other humor from other places doesn't work here. So I learned early on in doing the comedy that you need to know your audience. And so, if you're talking to a bunch of, I don't know, people that work in the logging industry, you can probably go get some laughs with log stuff. But if you're going to talk about, I don't know, suitcase making and make fun of, like they're going to be like, wait, I don't know anything about that. I don't get the joke. Right.
Right.
So, and then when you travel, like I noticed in New Zealand, I often use comedy as like when I get to know someone, like I'll make a joke and I'll just like, and it didn't go over well in New Zealand at all. It just didn't. They just either didn't get it, or I think comedy here is you can do things like, oh, I see that you like the color yellow, and what, and that's because they're all wearing yellow and it's funny,
Right.
But over there they'd be like, yeah, like it wouldn't be funny. They would just be like, you've just stated something obvious and it sounds like you're insulting me. So it's intriguing actually to if you travel to just see how different comedy is from country to country.
Right. I gotta tell you, hearing your words on this matter about finding the humor with certain audience that you're with. You know what the craziest joke or line I use when I'm out and about?
No.
When I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but not all the time, but sometimes if I'm going like Dunkin' Donuts or like Chick-fil-A where they ask for your name. The worst one though is sometimes I'll tell them my name is Barack Obama.
Oh my gosh. How does that go over?
Sometimes it works, I can get a laugh, I have gotten some stuff for free at Dunkin' Donuts. My friends don't know. And somebody, I don't know if they were trying to be funny or get at me or not, but when they actually put that in the name, and when the guy came out with the food, he was like, "It's ready for Barack Obama?" So sometimes that works, sometimes, but I give it, but life is short. Every day, every year, there's always something going on. This year, and you can, this year, so many people have left us, and it's like life is short. You gotta try to find the humor in it and not be so serious about things all the time because it doesn't help.
No, I mean it's been. I have to say. It's been hard on everyone, and I was very lucky. Like, I mean, compared to what many people have gone through, I was very blessed. And also, as a traveler, I also spent a good deal of time feeling trapped. Like I've changed my life to do what I love, and I literally can't do what I love. It's like it was hard for a while.
Right.
So so I think we've all had a very hard couple of years.
Yeah. What advice can you give somebody who wants to follow in your footsteps as far as your work? Being a traveling agent.
Well, it's not a travel agent. It's like being a travel coach.
I'm sorry, traveling coach.
No, that's okay. Just because I know it's confusing, right? Travel agents help book travel, and I actually, in my work, teach people how to become full-time travelers and how to actually manage their own travel, because if you're going to hire a travel agent for the whole thing, then you will need to be very wealthy. So,
right.
But so I think, look, I'm a certified coach, and I used to be. I don't know if your listeners are familiar with the International Coach Federation, but it is. It's an actual organization that gives a lot of credibility to the industry of coaching. And so I feel like it's important that if you want to get into coaching, that you get certified as a coach, because there isn't any regulation in the coaching industry. So if essentially anybody could walk outside and just say, oh, I'm a coach. So there's value in getting the training, because you'll learn not just about how to coach people, but you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about listening skills, because a lot of us think we're good listeners. I certainly thought I was a great listener when I went into the program, and I learned I was missing out, completely not listening. So I would say get certified as a coach. And then if you want to specifically be a full-time travel coach, I suggest that you go and travel full-time for a while, so you understand what this life is like, and the ups, the downs, what it really takes, what are some of the tricks and of the trade, and and how can you, work with someone, and you got to work with people in different situations, and kind of align them with the path that would be, the best for them.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. What was all that you said? I'm just kidding.
Well, you can hit the replay button and listen again.
That's right. Yep, that's right.
Rewind. Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything new coming about for you this year? I know you just released a book. Like, is there anything else new coming out for you this year?
Well, I'm actually thinking of working on a new program, so I'm kind of going to start reaching out to people for sort of testing theories, and then probably beta testing it. And what else? I'm actually, so I wrote a TEDx talk. Okay. And I want to deliver my TEDx talk. So it is, I don't know that I'll get to it this year, but just because I think it's like 6 months of planning or something, but but I'm actively looking to get accepted, get my TEDx talk accepted. And and I'm always doing podcasting and speaking. So that'll be the new stuff. And I'm going to Europe later this year. So I will be back out on the road soon, and looking forward to it.
Now, any souvenirs you buy in Europe, you got to post so I can see it, because I've never been to Europe.
Oh, really?
No.
Where have you been?
Sadly, I have to say I have been somebody that's never really traveled. I've only been in my own town, which is Baltimore. The only place I've been to is Virginia, to go visit family or to go to Kings Dominion, but I haven't traveled yet.
Have you not wanted to, or?
No, I mean I want to travel. I might be traveling. I'm working on a short film right now to be out soon, so I might be traveling to promote that. But I don't know. I didn't get to a place where I wanted to yet, but I feel like I want to, because going back to what I said earlier, life is short. I want to do a lot of things, see a lot of things. And doing this podcast, I made a lot of friends with people that live in California, so I would love to go out there to see them and explore. I thought about visiting London a few times when I was younger.
Yep. Okay, wait, and I have to ask you a question. Tell me the story behind the hat that you wear in all your episodes.
So, are you comfortable so you can hear this? So, the hat story is this. I was working a job called True Green. It's a lawn care company, and this was like a summer hat. And actually, I wore it before that, at the job before that. And Rite Aid, right?
Yes, the drugstore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they had this hat, and not a lot of people wear this hat. So when I would wear this hat when I'd be out, people would be like, "Man, I like that hat. Where'd you get it from?" It was just a summer hat. So one day at my church, we had like a prayer night at the pastor's house, and his sister was there, and she started calling me Ranger Matt out of nowhere. Because of the hat. Yeah. And I didn't like it because, at first I didn't, because I thought of Yogi Bear, Ranger Smith. So I said, I don't know, but it stuck with me. So now when I started doing my podcast back in 2019, well, actually, let me fast forward. When I started doing the live shows, I just incorporated the hat in it. Not all the time, but I wanted to do something new and different. So that's kind of where the hat came from. It actually came when I switched from PE Slick to Slicker Better You, so that's where the hat comes from.
Okay, well, that's funny. Okay.
Now, if you want one, I can custom make you one and just write, the comedic Markel on there.
Perfect.
I meant to ask you this earlier. So, like, when I was saying, like, how this job has changed you, like, has any kids younger asked about this, about your work? Or teenagers?
No, not so much. I think. No, actually, I think I've garnered more interest from people that are more like frustrated career professionals who because I think when you're younger, you're kind of like in college or you're in, school, and you're, for them, there's something called a gap year, which has gained popularity. So when you're like either in between high school and college or just after college, especially in places like New Zealand and Australia, people take a year off at that age and go find themselves. But that was less popular, but gained a lot of popularity, and is more and more done now around the world, or maybe not around the world, but in more places than just the ones that are so far away from everywhere else that that's how they go see the world. But for me, I feel like what happens is in our midlife at some point before we retire, we reach a point where we're like, wow, like I've been doing this work for this long. It's not meaningful to me anymore. I want to do something more meaningful. I don't know what it is. And we have what is called by society a midlife crisis. And so because you're having a crisis, you're supposed to go get a therapist, and the therapist will help you figure out what's wrong with you. But so in my quest, I was like, I'm not looking for what's wrong with me. I want to know what's right with me. So that there really isn't, I don't think there's any process for adults to figure out the meaning they want, except therapy or, pharmaceuticals. So I think, and full-time travel is just one of the greatest ways. It's challenging. It's hard. People sometimes from afar think we're on like full-time vacation, and my God, it is anything but a full-time vacation. And you learn a lot about yourself when you travel, and I do it. I've been doing it solo. So you just learn a lot about yourself and your own resourcefulness and what you're made of and what you want. And so I highly recommend the full-time travel as a better way than therapy and pharmaceuticals to tap into, who you are and what you want for yourself.
Right. See, this message that you just gave just now, this would be really good for somebody who needs a section right now. Who, if they can't get it from Dr. Phil, they can get it from you.
They can get it from me. Yep, I'm bookable. Contact me. Happy to be on a TV show. Oprah, I'm right here.
Oh man. See. So if anybody who wants to reach out and look into your work, I know about it already, but can you explain your website for those that want to get contact?
Sure. So my website is heatherbegins.com. I named it that because I felt like I began my life when I quit my job and started traveling. So I have all kinds of information there on how you can work with me, my products and services. And if you just want to read about other places I've been, all my blog posts are there. And there's also a link to the book. You can buy it right from the homepage. And I also have a Facebook group that is called Full-Time Travelers and Nomads. There's over 3,000 people in it. And if you're looking for a community, if you're listening to this and you're already traveling full-time, you find community. If you're looking for, tips and guidance about how to do it in the future, it's another great place to come and hang out. So you're welcome to join us there. And so those two things would be the easiest and best way to reach me.
Have you been to Canada or California?
I went to Canada years ago, Oot na Boot, right? And I have been to California, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I can't remember if you told me where you are right now. So I wasn't sure if you was on the East Coast or the West Coast.
New York City, yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, so if I come to New York, I can look out for your next show, Broadway show, right?
Look out for my next Broadway show, and also I'll probably be Good Morning America or something. I'll be, interviewed, of course. Just look for me.
There you go.
TV shows.
Well, like I say, it's been a blast talking with you. Anybody that's motivated hearing this message, please go to heatherbegins.com. This lady will change your life forever. I'm ready to go travel right now.
Cool. Well, let's do it. Thank you for having me. This has been a great conversation, and it's just been a pleasure.
No problem. Well, you have a blessed one, and I will be right back with you in a second.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's been another great day with Slick. A better you. It's time to get the traveling going. I mean, hey, it's the weekend, right? I don't mean go drink and drive. I mean, this is the weekend when we can get our luggage together, our dogs and kids, or our spouses, or just yourself. Run to the airport or your closest jet and start sailing all over this world, because I'm telling you, your life is going to change forever, like what Heather said, But I was really moved today. I'm always moved whenever I have all my guests from over the years come on. Even if they come back on, I'm always happy with it. So thanks again for tuning in. You guys stay safe. Have a blessed weekend. And happy Easter. I forgot to tell Heather that. Happy Easter. And, in order to help, I'm sorry, in order to better help others, you have to help better advance yourself. Because when you advance yourself, you can advance and help others that are in need creatively. So you guys stay safe. Have a blessed one. And till next time. See you.